right, what's up, everybody? This is Tom Taylor with South China Morning Post, SCMP Martial Arts, joined today by one of the rising stars of the One Championship strawweight division, and may I say, one of my favorite people in this sport to talk to all of a sudden, Danial Williams. Daniel, what's cracking, man? How's life?
Tom, how you going, man? Yeah, pretty good. Give me 1 second. Carl, I'm just in an interview.
No worries, man.
Sorry,
No
bit of
problem.
noise.
No worries. How's life?
Yeah, really good. I obviously from the last fight there was a lot to learn, so I went straight back into the gym, used that foundation fitness coming into the next camp, and yeah, just can't wait to bang on, man. Because life's been pretty good here. In old sunny Perth. It's winter now, but it's really sunny. It's like 20 degrees or something. So we're pretty blessed. I'm pretty blessed to be here.
Glad to hear it, man. I'm so glad to hear things are going well. You mentioned there were some lessons to be gleaned from that nice win you had. What do you take away from that fight?
Yeah, I just really, to be honest, man, I didn't feel like I respected him enough. Watching the tape over and over again, I just felt like I was just really caring what I was doing and not really looking at what he was doing. Like he was really setting me up. I was drawing him back to the cage all the time, and that was that perfect time for him to shoot when I just lead him with heavy shots. And he's a real like Muay Thai brain that I'm really working on because in Muay Thai, I just want to go. My whole career has been around Muay Thai, and it's just forward, forward, forward. And yeah, I just took a lot from that and just being a lot more of a smarter fighter and just sticking to the game plan. This is what I'm going to do this time because the last fight, yeah, I didn't really stick to the game plan. I was just worried about myself, and I just really wanted to finish him, and yeah, just wasn't respecting him. And even on the ground, like really not happy with what I was doing there, and just yeah, just not being smart.
Hmm.
But it was a good fight to learn from for sure because obviously my conditioning was really really good, and that definitely got me through. But yeah, it was just a good fight to learn from, and to get the wins was
Hmm.
awesome.
Hmm. That kind of is what I was going to ask you. I've gotten the sense in the few conversations we've had that you're perhaps a bit of a self-critical guy when it comes to your fights. A little bit introspective. I wanted to ask, is there anything positive you can take away from that one? But you kind of answered it there. Anything else that you're really proud of in that performance?
Yeah, just to know where I can improve on. I mean, like, yeah, I guess you kind of got to be critical to get to the top, and that's where I want to be. And I think I'm on the right path to do that. I do want to be a two-sport world champion, and I give myself a time frame the next 2 to 3 years to be able to achieve that. And yeah, that's why it's good to take those wins and then learn from them as well, as opposed to losing and having to learn. Take a win and learn as well.
That's a great attitude. Obviously, you have the opportunity for another big win here at the end of the month. How are you feeling as this fight draws closer? How's the training and everything going?
Yeah, just can't wait to get in there because training's getting really hard now. I get anxiety going to training all the time because I just need to go the last couple of weeks leading up to the fight, really get that conditioning to that peak point. So a lot of mental game in the last 2 weeks of training, and I'm pushing myself to the limit. So just can't wait to get back in there. Can't wait to get back into Singapore and give the fans what they want. Another explosive fight.
Awesome, man. Well, let's talk about the opponent. I guess first things first. Normally, when I'm dealing with a one championship fighter that's making their debut and they have a name that I'm not familiar with, I'll listen to Mitch Chilson or Mike Chiavello pronounce it. Of course, there's no tape on this guy because he's making his debut, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name out of respect. But he looks like a tough guy. I mean, he looks like he's a dangerous finisher. What are your thoughts on this guy? What have you been able to learn about this guy from the tape you've been able to find?
Yeah, I mean, like it was hard finding a bit of tape. I think I wasn't sure if his name was together, like Zelang Zhaxi, or
Hmm.
if it was two separate names. But I have found some. I did see his last fight, so he's a good all rounder. He's got good ground game. He's got good striking, and he's got a good record. So he's been in. He's very experienced. So I'm not taking this guy lightly at all. Like coming off from the last one, I'm sticking to the game plan, and I'm still searching for that finish. And I just want to sort of switch that Muay Thai brain a little bit and just respect that this guy is dangerous in other areas. So that's why I'm just going to really really suss him out and just try to light him up on the feet. And then if it goes to the ground, I'll be looking to get back up and then yeah, stand and bang.
Hmm. It's a great fight, but of course, after your win over Namiki Kawahara, you were asking for Jeremy Miyato, and that was such an awesome idea. I thought, like you said when I spoke to you last time, that fight is just, I mean, it's perfect on paper. Was that ever discussed with One Championship? Like, did they respond to that suggestion, or was that just not an option from the get go?
No, I didn't really hear too much about that. Yeah, it wasn't really the card that was on the table. And yeah, I mean that would be an awesome fight, wouldn't it? But yeah, it just wasn't something that was talked about. Could be a potential matchup in the future for sure. Because yeah, I'm willing to fight anyone. Just the MMA at the moment. I just want to get that experience up. So whoever they give me, I'm going to say yes.
Mhm.
And yeah, but really, like after this fight, I really want to chase that Muay Thai title. Like I believe that title's mine. I believe I got the goods to do it, and that's why yeah, I have asked like that's the guy. I've made it known everywhere that's what I want to do. So yeah, that moving forward that would be a good clash to have. But yeah, right now it's just the MMA game, and hoping to get that experience up and learning again and getting that win.
Mhm. Speaking of that Miyato fight, he was ranked when you asked for that fight. I think he was number 5 or something, and obviously the rankings have changed a little bit since then. Gustavo Ballart came along and messed everything up and changed the whole landscape. Were you disappointed at all, though? You were asking for a ranked opponent, and then you get a guy who's making his debut. And I know you're not the type to like stir the pot or whatever. But was there part of you where you were kind of thinking, this is a bit of a letdown considering what I was asking for?
Not really. I was just happy to get a fight. I understand like because yeah, I just want to get more experience in the MMA side because I think there's still things to work on, and this next fight will be a big test and to build that confidence. Because yeah, I wasn't got the win. Was happy to learn a lot from the last fight, but I wasn't too happy just how I fought. And a different fighter could have been a different story of me just chasing him down and not really respecting their game. So this is a really good test next fight. And it didn't really matter who they gave me, even if it was number one, number two, number three. Like, yeah, it's just the challenge for me. And I know my time will come. Like, I know my time will come with MMA with those top 5 guys, even if it's the next fight or, yeah, or a couple of fights later. Like, I know that will definitely come as long as I
Mhm.
do good this fight and do better.
Mhm. You've mentioned, wanting to get experience in MMA, and one of the great things about this matchup, a silver lining, this guy may not be ranked, but he does have a ton of experience. He's the most experienced guy you've fought so far, I believe, in terms of MMA. Is that kind of a perk for you that you get to go in there with a guy who has just been around the block and knows how to do everything? Like, are you looking at this as a potential, real learning experience?
Yeah, 100%. Like I like fighting those experienced guys. They bring different type of fight because they're usually all rounded everywhere. So it shows you the level you need to be in. And yeah, I prefer to be the underdog all the time. I want to I want those harder challenges. Hey, it just brings a new mental mindset, and new like yeah, training camp, and that's how I improve so much. So I'm just glad One Championship are going to give me guys that look better on tape, like better on their record. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm glad how it's all panned out.
Mhm. Speaking of his experience, experience is an interesting thing in MMA because you can train for somebody's striking or train for somebody's jujitsu, but when you're talking about something as intangible as experience, that's a hard thing to prepare for. So, how do you get ready as a guy who's sort of newer to this sport? How do you get ready for a guy who's obviously more experienced than you are?
I just stick to my structure of game plan as long as I'm doing what I need to do. So, like, obviously, I really want to work on my defensive grappling, jiu-jitsu. So that's a big part of my game. And just as long as I'm putting the time in throughout the day, so I do my weekly schedule. I'm in the gym least a couple times a day. So as long as I stick to that, I know I will improve. It's just when I don't do that in the past, when I have had those shorter camps or I'm not too disciplined and it just shows in the fight. And then the fights, it's just a no brainer, really. Yeah, the ones where I just really have that focus and discipline is the time when I actually do look good.
Mhm. Speaking of the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu and stuff, you've mentioned before that that's something you're really focused on. Obviously, you come from Muay Thai and you want to learn how to do these other things and really bring that part of your game up to the same level as your striking. How do you feel about your jiu-jitsu these days? With another camp winding down, how are you feeling about your grappling at this stage?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So I I just feel like I've got a lot of improvement since the last fight. I mean, I say that every fight, but yeah, I do really feel like it's leveling up. And just main thing is because I'm enjoying it too, is I'm putting the time in. As before was kind of like a chore, like
Mhm.
when I was starting out, because like, you know, your own self-critic, like you're not good enough, so you always shit. And like just that talk in the brain is just not good. Like, because what you're thinking is sometimes what will happen. Now I'm just like enjoying it more. I'm enjoying the journey. Whereas when I was starting out, yeah, it was just like, oh God, I have to go down there. So the whole training session I wasn't really present, wasn't really taking it in. I was looking at the clock all the time, like, when is this going to be done?
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's a big thing I've noticed with this camp is just like the enjoyment of it and seeing the improvement and yeah, getting that confidence.
That's awesome to hear, man. I'm glad you're finding some joy in the grappling side of things. That's going to make you more dangerous, I'm sure. But of course, you are a Muay Thai guy, right? And you've spoken quite a few times about potentially fighting for the Muay Thai title in your division and one championship at some point. Now that title changed hands recently. We saw Joseph Lasiri beat Prajanchai, huge upset. They're going to be talking about it for a long time. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, oh, man, that was a wicked fight. Impressive display by Joseph. Stuck to the game plan really well, utilizing that jab a lot. And funnily enough, like that was how I would picture myself fighting Prajan Chai. And they're the two guys that are, I guess, the top in the strawweight division. Haven't seen too much of the other guys that are ranked, so that's why. I mean, like, yeah, ever since I fought Rod Tang, man, I had so much fun. It was a long time out of the Muay Thai game, and I am pretty keen to get back in there. I fought Dej after that, and he's mainly Muay Thai as well, so I
Mhm.
almost felt like that was just more of a Muay Thai fight. And yeah, I've just ever since those two fights, just being strike happy. I'm really confident in it.
Mhm.
And I just think, yeah, Prajan Chai, Joseph Lasiri, like, yeah, I really want those guys if I can the next couple of fights. So,
Mhm.
well, yeah, the goal. I think when I stopped Muay Thai, man, I was a world champion. I was a cage Muay Thai champion on the John Wayne Parr show. I finished on top, and then I went on this MMA journey, and then I come back and fought Rod Tang on short notice, and hanged with him in a weight class above. So that's why I just believe that I can get this title and I
Mhm.
can fight those best guys in the strawweight division. So that's why I think it would just be an exciting fight for me and for the fans. And yeah, I believe I can do it. So brain's kind of sitting there, but I can't look too past my opponent right now because it's a total different game plan I'm coming in with as opposed to a Muay Thai game plan.
Mhm.
So yeah, try not to think too much about it, but just yeah, that's kind of where my head's at with those fights as well.
Well, it's got to be hard not to think about it, given that you are so good at Muay Thai as well. And you mentioned a moment ago that when you were watching the Lasiri and Prajan Shai fight, you were thinking, that's kind of how you would approach that fight too. So I'm curious, like when you were watching that, and as it was becoming clearer and clearer that Lasiri was winning that fight, were you thinking like, shit, this could be me right now? Like I could be doing this and beating this guy and scoring this
Yeah,
crazy upset?
of course, man. Of course. Like, yeah, it was wicked to see. So I definitely see myself in those shoes, and yeah, I just think like, yep, I can do that as well. And mainly, it's just an exciting fight, just a lot of action, and I love those fights, and I know the fans love it too. So yeah, I like chasing those exciting fights.
Hmm. And what do you think about Lasiri, the new champ? You like your chances against him?
Of course, man. Yeah, I've seen a few of his fights over the years. I've seen how much he's improved and how he's bringing in this game plan to his fights, and that's why it excites me because I feel like, yeah, he's very smart. With his coaches are very smart, and my coaches are very smart. So it'll be like, yeah, a real good battle because we're both aggressive as well, and we both want to walk forward. And yeah, smart fighters. So, yeah, it excites me. It's something that I really want.
Yeah, it's an amazing matchup, man. I hope you can make that happen at some point. Now, have you mentioned to One Championship that you're interested in going back to Muay Thai? Like, have you gotten kind of a read on how they feel about you going between the two sports? Does it sound like it's possible?
Yeah, I've definitely mentioned it. Like I told after the last fight, or after seeing the Lasiri fight, and even after my last uh MMA fight, I did say I've had the three fights in MMA, so I do want to have a Muay Thai fight now. because I just had that itch after the Rod Tang fight. Like, man, that was actually really cool. Let's have like a fight like that again with someone. And yeah, Joseph would be the perfect one for it. So
Mhm.
yeah, I have made it clear, and I do, yeah, hope it happens. I do believe if I'm win this fight, that's 3 wins in the one circle. So yeah, I would love to do a Muay Thai fight after that, and
Mhm.
then yeah, to keep bouncing between it. Because
Mhm.
yeah, I've got to have the confidence for both. I've been working for both. I came into one championship with that goal to be a two-sport world champion.
Mhm.
So whatever it takes to do both, I'll do it, and I'll call out those fighters who are at the top just so I can keep improving.
Mhm. The Rod Tang fight was amazing, and as you said, that was on short notice, a weight class above. I mean, obviously not ideal circumstances for a fight, but you did really well, and it sounds like you had a great time. So if one championship came to you with an offer to fight in Muay Thai on short notice, perhaps even a division up, like, are you open to these kinds of offers?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Awesome.
anything. I keep ready, and I don't mind fighting the weight class above. That's my walk around weight, the 62 kilos, and yeah,
Mhm.
I'm still confident that I can hang with some of those boys. So yeah, if it's a short notice fight in the weight class above, I'll do that as well.
Mhm. Just while we're on the topic of those boys in that division, any thoughts on the Grand Prix that's happening up there, and who might win that one?
Yeah, it's such an awesome Grand Prix. Obviously, Rod Tang. I'm going to back Rod Tang, man. I think he's just a smart fighter now. It's cool how he stepped out to MMA a little bit. Footwork's a little bit different, so he's always improving. And I just think, yeah, although he's very aggressive, he knows when to turn it on. He knows when to turn it off. And he's not just what some people think. He's just this forward fighter, just take shots. He does that to fighters that he knows that he's completely dominating. So yeah, I think he'll take it out, but who knows? Could be some upsets as well. I'm the worst predictor sometimes
You can't be
because
any worse than me, man.
yeah, man. Like upsets are really awesome as well, and those guys in that division,
Mhm.
yeah, are there for a reason. So they have what it takes.
Mhm.
But yeah, a slight edge to Rod Tang, I think, to take it out.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, back to you. A couple more questions here. I mean, what's the perfect rest of the year look like for you? Obviously, you have the fight at the end of this month. Are you hoping to fight once more, twice more? I mean, what's the perfect outcome here for you?
Yeah, perfect outcome would to be fight at least twice more. But yeah, get through this fight. Hopefully the body's good, and then I want to get straight back in there, even if it's 2 weeks after that or whenever the next show is in August. Um, yeah, I just want to get back in there because it's like my even with my Muay Thai days, it was just fight after fight after fight. That's where I improved the most, and like you can train for years and years, and yeah, you only get you don't improve as much as actually when you get in the ring and what you actually want to do. So ideal circumstances, yeah, 2 more fights this year at the minimum,
Hmm. Well,
including yeah, this one and then one more at the minimum would be great.
awesome, man. Awesome. I hope that happens for you. You've proven clearly that you're incredible at Muay Thai and very good at MMA as well. You're right at on the cusp of the rankings, I would say, in both of those divisions. How confident are you that by the end of 2022, or early 2023, that you're gonna have a spot in the rankings in one of those divisions?
Confident, yeah, I'm very confident I will have a top 5 spot in MMA by next year, if not this year. Yeah, depending on this fight as well. But yeah, I'm quite confident. I'm on the right path. My training's good. Coach, the people around me is good. Um, yeah, the visualization's really good. So
Hmm.
everything's kind of going to plan. And yeah, just keep staying active is the main thing, which is going to make that happen. Not getting
Hmm.
injured, staying active. Because I'll be honest, man, like I'm pretty bad for if I have a long layoff. Like yeah, I don't do too much, and it's hard getting fit again. It's really
Hmm.
hard. Like so, it's good to just stay fit and stay active.
Hmm. Um, Speaking of the rankings, as a guy who's fairly new to MMA, what would it mean to you to, say in 6 months' time, or, early next year, to go over to onefc.com and check out the rankings page and see your name in the top five in the MMA division there?
That'll be a great celebratory moment. I think I have to do something fun for that because, yeah, it's just just like that story of like when I started MMA, like yeah, it was lots of injuries at the start, and lots of people were like, you know, you're too old now. Like it's going to be hard changing sport. Like you're on top of Muay Thai. Like stay there. You don't need to be doing this. And I knew deep down like I can do this. So it's just proving to myself that that belief. And yeah, it would be absolutely amazing to see it because yeah, it's what I set out to do in the one championship circle, and if it happens, then yeah, then the next thing I'll just be visualizing everything like more goals. So yeah, it would be
Mhm,
awesome to see.
Well, it feels like a matter of time to me, man. I'm sure you're gonna make it happen. A lot of exciting things down the road for you in two different sports, but obviously the next challenge is this fight on July 30th. Prediction for this fight?
I will show a beautiful display of violence, and it'll be a stoppage.